In this video, we will be taking a look at a budget-friendly alternative to what is my favorite electronic diagnostic tool, at least as far as it goes for internal combustion engines that run on 12 and 24 volt circuits, and that would be this here Power Probe 3. I've had this particular one for over a decade, and it's served me well. I would even go as far as to say it's a game changer. And without getting too deep in the weeds, as far as how it works, it's just a quick and dirty circuit tester. It's a voltmeter. It's an ohm meter. It does all kinds of different stuff. Very handy. At the end of the video, I'll put in the thumbnail and I'll put in the description where I kind of go into a deep dive on this and why it works so well and why I like it so much. But yeah, recently Power Probe had lost their patent on this here form factor style for a circuit tester, and yeah, so the other companies come in and they start making their own, and this particular one is made by Autel, which is the one we'll be looking at today. It's the PS100 Power Scan. They can't call it a Power Probe because Power Probe is a trademarked brand name. But yeah, I mean, it basically does the exact same thing as, well, the exact same thing that the Power Probe 3 does, a little bit more. I think if we were comparing apples to apples, this would be more along the lines comparing to the Power Probe 4, which this is almost $200 cheaper than, which is amazing. That's great because I really wanted a Power Probe 4, but I didn't want to spend all that money on the damn thing. That's just a little bit better than this one. So, yeah, I have not opened this yet, short of pulling out the manual and taking a quick scan through it. So, yeah, we're just going to open up the box. We're going to kind of raw dog it and get my first impressions of it. I'm not going to get too deep again into how I use it and the ways I use it, but we'll play with it. Is basically what we're going to do with this today. So yeah, let's face the camera down and get into it. Well, all right, this is it in the box. It comes with this little marketing yada yada on the front of it. We don't need that. We're going to go over all that stuff in the video here. I will say that this box is almost identical to the Power Probe box that I have that I can't find because I moved my Power Probe into a little satchel here, and I don't remember where I put it, but yeah, I mean, it's very, very reminiscent of the Power Probe 3 box. Now, what actually comes in the box, flip that over, pop open the latch. Got a nice little latch, nice blow mold case, not too bad. Obviously, you get your instructions there stacked right here on the top. You get yourself a, oh, tips in that bag too. You get yourself a power port or cigarette lighter for anybody who was born 80s and later, just to stick it in there, which will give you your positive and ground from your battery. You have your tip, which I just dropped again. Tip plugs into the end of the Power Probe, and it's got a little rubber thingy on there to protect from the pointy bits. Now getting a little bit deeper, let me move this down kind of center a little bit better. We have the actual tool itself, the circuit tester. Again, very reminiscent of the Power Probe shape and form factor. Not too bad. We have the leads that come with it. These leads are 20 foot long, or 20 feet long to use the proper word. And then you have over here an extension, which gives you another 20 feet. If you are doing trailer lights for even just smaller trailers, this thing is a game changer, this extension. Back when boom lifts, aerial work platforms and whatnot, before they all went to CAN bus controls and you had those big cannon wires going through the booms with relays and whatnot, this thing was another game changer as far as diagnosing those things. And last but not least, you get the alligator clips with the adapter on the side. I will say that these are much nicer alligator clips than the ones that come with the original Power Probe 3. I don't have a Power Probe 4, so I can't compare those side by each, but yeah, my original Power Probe ones, the positive broke off because there's no strain relief on it. But yeah, that goes as far as what goes in the box, or what comes in the box. Yeah, as far as the star of the show goes, the actual tool itself, again, very similar to the Power Probe. You got your rocker up and down, inject 12 volts and inject ground. Circuit breaker on the side there. You got yourself two headlights. You got the point in the top that allows you to insert the old probe there. One thing that I'm really hoping will work, let me grab it. I got some of my old power probe attachments. This here would be a amp meter, which tells you how many amps something's pulling. And this here is a 5-volt adapter. And yes, it fits in there. That is awesome. Whoever did that at Autel, I'll kiss you on the lips for that, because the amp probe for the power probe is really nice. You just plug it in there and you can get an amp reading. And again, with the 5 volts is nice if you're trying to inject power into a sensor that might be losing power or have lost power, and you just want to confirm your issue there and power it up with 5 volts. Very good. Thank you very much for that. While we're looking at that, I just turned this thing on. Hold on. The tips, I mean, obviously the tips are interchangeable. Yes, they are. And I'm looking at the plug here. Now, the old power probe, this is the alligator clips for the old power probe. Again, kind of cheap. I'm sorry, but it's just a fact. But are the plugs and cables interchangeable? I'm guessing 100% yes. Awesome. Very cool. I mean, if you're going to knock something off, you might as well knock it off right, as far as I'm concerned. But yes, that is very cool. All right, well, enough feeling it. Let's actually plug the thing in and see what it looks like. All right, I got a 12-volt battery over here on the floor, and that turns it on. You know what, while we are doing that, let's hook up the power probe so we kind of get a side-by-side look at them. All right, there we go. Plug it in. And I mean, you could obviously see the advantage already with the Autel, with the nice LCD screen that you can read compared to the power probe one. That, well, there's nothing on it at this point in time, but yeah, when it lights up, you can barely read it. And this one is always lit up and readable. We take that peel off. All right, let's walk through the modes one by one here. Right now we're in DC volt mode. Again, it's made for 12 to 24 volts. I mean, above that, it's 12 to 24 volt automotive circuits is what we're looking at there. Basically works like a digital meter. When you touch positive, you get a high tone with a red and tells you the voltage. That would be 12.1 volts. And then when you come over here to ground, I got jumper cables over here that are hooked up to the battery. Goes green and reads 0 voltage. You could also do the power injection where you rock her up, and then this becomes live with 12 volts, and then you come down and you can inject ground. So, you know, say you got a headlight out, you got good voltage, you inject ground to the ground, the light turns on, you know, you got a bad ground. Now, as far as how that's working in action with the power and ground injection, we're going to turn the sound off because I don't feel like talking over the thing the entire video. But again, up, high tone, and you get the red light to indicate you got power coming out or power going in, and then push down, low tone, green screen, and a green LED to let you know that you are on ground. So I have a little 1157 light bulb here, which was the most popular light bulb forever. And now you just mostly see them in trailers that haven't switched over to LED yet. So let's see if we can get a ground on this thing, which might be difficult with this here alligator clip. Let's see. I'm going to fiddle with this for about 20 minutes. Yeah, we're going to do that. Problem is that I have nothing to ground this thing to. If I was smart, I would have used a holder for it. But yeah, so we're going to inject power and light up both of the filaments. And let's turn that sound off. I forgot to do that. All right, sound's off. We're back on voltage mode. We're going to rock her up, and it's going to inject power, which will give us our one filament. And then down below, we get the other filament. Bing, bang, there you go. So speaking of the actual light bulb there, I got the Power Probe amp, or PP amp, PPAMP. Just yanked that whole thing out of there, didn't I? The way this thing works, again, it's just basically an inline amp probe. This is going to be extra hard with the extra length on the thing, but I think we'll be able to manage. You can see the amps down there. Let me get the ground. Here's our ground. I think we ended up holding that on there. And then you kind of probe into the back of it. It's reading ground because it's open. Well, it's closed circuit to ground, so you put power on it, make it do some work. And then, yeah, 2.6 amps is what that thing draws. Not bad at all. And moving on to the 5-volt little adapter here. That's again from Power Probe, which is the PP-T5VA. This particular one, you just hook it up here and here, like that, and plug that guy into there, and then you have 5 volts that you can inject out the end of it. It's going to say 12 here, but this works independently of that. As long as that little red LED's on there, it's going to tell you that you're outputting 5 volts. Well, that's about it as far as the voltage goes. One thing I did forget to mention, this is also really good for checking voltage drops across circuits. Reason being is that your power is hooked up to your battery, so you know what your source voltage is. So if you come over and you get a component that's supposed to be running on, say, battery voltage, and it's at 10 voltage, you know you got a voltage drop across your circuit, usually from a bad ground or something like that. But yeah, that's about it as far as that goes. Now, moving on to the next mode, which is AC, alternating current. Most people think alternating current is just the stuff that comes out of your wall. Not necessarily true. This is more for like a PWM signal where you're pulsing, alternating from high to low, and this apparently will pick it up. So if you're looking at like a stepper motor on something like a throttle body, I'm guessing a fuel injector too that's sitting there pulsing, it'll let you know if it's getting a signal. Many sensors use that PWM style signal on the thing, and this thing will pick it up. Unfortunately, I don't have anything in here at the bench that I could actually check a PWM signal on. I have no reason to believe that it wouldn't work, but yeah, so that's what that's for, and that's actually something in addition that the Power Probe 3 did not have that'll let you do that. And again, I mean, it definitely would come in handy because most multimeters can't really do PWM type signals. Now, moving on, we're going to go over to the resistance scale. 100% transparency. If I'm looking for resistance on something, I'm busting out the regular old multimeter, short of just actually checking continuity. I don't necessarily know that I would be using this for checking resistance in a circuit or like a potentiometer or something like that, but I got myself a pack of quarter watt 2K resistors here. We'll see how this does as far as accuracy does on the old ohm scale there. Plug this guy onto here, and I'm guessing you would just have to plug this guy onto here. And hey, look at that, 2K, not too bad. Very cool. Now the Power Probe 3 had this function, but it was kind of mucky. But again, like I said, if I'm going to be using this for action, if I need to actually check specific resistance on something, I'm busting out the multimeter. I'm not going to use this short of just checking continuity across the circuit. Now, last but not least is just the turn the little warning thing or the buzzer on and off, which we've actually already covered. Going back to the voltage there, high and low. Let's test the circuit breaker. Why don't we do that while we're looking at stuff? We got ground there. We're going to inject it. And we blew the circuit. Let's turn that off because that's annoying. Yeah, so we blew the circuit. Gives you an audible and a visual warning that the circuit's been blown, and should be able to just push to reset that, and there you go. Now, the circuit breaker on this is kind of a slow blow circuit. I think these are rated for like, I think 5 or 10 amps continuous. And then, you know, if you got something that's 30 amps, you can zap it real quick like a starter solenoid. Yeah, so that's kind of nice. But yeah, I think that's about it as far as the looks and the feels of the thing. So, I mean, that's about it as far as a quick and dirty kind of overview on the thing. Um, like I said, it's just quick and dirty diagnostics, and now with the actual AC reading on the thing, it just kind of makes it a complete tool as far as I'm concerned. You know, you got a code for a sensor. You can check, see if you got power. You can check, see if you got ground. You could actually check. You can inject 5 volts into it if you have this little power probe adapter onto the thing, and power the thing off of 5 volts. You can check the actual signal that's either going into it or coming out of it, depending on what kind of sensor it is or a throttle body or what have you. But yeah, definitely a nice upgrade from what I've been using. And yeah, as long as it holds up for the next 15 years, like the old Power Probe does, I really can't see how you'd go wrong with this thing. So there we go. That is the Autel PS100 power scanner. Don't call it a Power Probe, because if you do, lawyers will send you ceases and desists. Here's messed up. But yeah, I mean, out of the package, it definitely is much better as far as functionality goes than the old Power Probe 3. The screen alone would make me want to buy this thing, because the screen on this old Power Probe 3 sucks bad, especially in direct sunlight. You're like trying to cover it. It stinks. But yeah, that alone makes it worth it. Then you have the whole AC test on the thing. I like that. It kind of makes it, kind of rounds off the whole quick and dirty thing as far as this goes. But yeah, I do like it. I also like the fact that it works with the old Power Probe 3 accessories, like the amp probe that we looked at, and a little 5 volt regulator on the thing, and the cords work with it. Very nice. I mean, if you're going to knock something off, you might as well knock it off right. And it seems like Autel did a very good job, at the very least, for doing that. Just addressing a common comment. This does not replace a good multimeter by any stretch of the imagination. You're still going to need one of those. Again, just a quick and dirty way to do some quick and dirty diagnostics on some electronics. People also say, "Oh, well, that's just a glorified test light." Like, no. Well, first of all, never use test lights, because they don't tell you anything aside from that a little light turns on. And two, if you're saying that, you don't know how electricity works. I'm sorry. But, yeah, that's about it for this. Like I said, I'm going to put a thumbnail in here, and I'll link it down in the descriptions, where I go into how I would use a power probe in regular diagnostics. All that applies to this new thing we got here. I didn't see the need in remaking that whole video as far as walking through how I would use the thing. It's a long video if you're really interested in it. Speaking of, if you are interested in it, I will link this down in the description, and I'll also link these two in the description as well, because that now I know that they will actually work with this guy, which is cool. One other thing I will say that you might want to add to this, if you do buy one, or if you even have a power probe, these tips right here, these are standard multimeter tips. So get yourself a alligator clip, and you could put that on there, and that way there you don't have to be right on the thing to test it. You can clip it on and kind of be standing off to the side and do it. It's one thing that I keep when I do this, and it kind of helps out. Like I said, especially if it's in a tight area and you can't quite get on it, you can put the alligator clip on it, and back probe pins, all that other stuff. You guys know, no need to get into all of that. But yeah, so that's about it for this video. Any questions, comments, concerns, leave them down in the old comments section. I'll do my best to get back to you. I would like to thank you for watching. There you go.